EBS TV, Television Reloaded.
All right, good morning and thank you for joining us on Issues and Answers. And this morning we'll be looking at mental conflicts and mental health in Nigeria. And today's topic we'll be looking at it, and will be the causes of mental health problem issues and the way forward. From studies, mental health of individual or a community varies, and depending on the kind of conflict, the way we respond to conflict or tension in whatever space we find ourselves. Nigeria is like a conflict zone for the now, though in some states it's relative. We have the Boko Haram, we have the kidnapping, we have the pickpockets, we have all kinds of, there's economic conflicts, whatever, different types of conflicts. How do we respond to this? And in all these, our head still carries everything, and there's a way we respond. So we'll be looking at it this morning, conflict and mental health in Nigeria. And we're going to be proffering solution, because the doctor will tell us, how do you keep your mental health intact so that you don't go bonkers when you're faced with various conflicts or tensions in the society. That's what we'll be looking at this morning. So do stay so that you learn something from it. We have Dr. Akani from Usilu Psychiatric Hospital, Benin City. Dr. Akani, you're welcome.
Good morning, Ma. Good morning to the viewers at home. It's my pleasure being here, and I want to say Happy New Year to every one of us.
Because I was waiting for that. How would you did say that? I would say,
But
tell them Happy New Year.
The year is already getting old. Can we still say Happy New Year?
No, this January should be for Happy New Year.
Oh, okay.
Don't spoil the tradition, please talk.
I was thinking by the time you cross the first week of the year, it's already old. Because
this year, so people are still...
this Tuesday now is the second Tuesday of the year.
All right.
It all depends on the way we see it anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it. The way we see it, and
Yes.
the way we see tension and conflict also. Okay, Doc, what's the relationship between conflict and mental health? Is there a relationship?
Oh, yes. There's so much relationship between conflict and mental health. Studies have been done in conflict zones, and we found that mental health is prevalent in conflict zone. All right, because when you're talking of conflict, you're talking of a situation where there's disagreement between two people or two parties or two groups. All right, so when there's a disagreement like that, tension is created, tension is built up, and such tension invariably affects the mental health. So there is a relationship, whether direct relationship or indirect relationship. What I've just explained is a direct relationship. There could be indirect relationship as a result of conflict. Because when you have conflict leads to the degradation of other things. Right? Let's look at armed conflicts. Armed conflicts, when there is war and all that, there are many other things that are destroyed. People even die in the course of it. So such degradation of the state of the land, death, loss of property, all those ones can indirectly also affect one's mental health. So the relationship is there, whether it's direct or it is indirect.
All right, let's put this mental health in a very good perspective. When we talk about mental health, what do we really mean about our mental health, mental status? What is it all about, Doc?
Okay. Mental health is a broad area, all right. According to WHO, which is the World Health Organization, they have a standard definition for mental health. Mental health is the state of well-being.
Well-being.
Yes, it's a state of well-being that captures both your physical well-being, your social well-being, and even your mental well-being. So the WHO will tell you that mental health is not just the absence of mental disorders. All right, there's something we call mental disorders. They are recognizable illnesses that requires treatment. All right. But mental health is more than just the absence of mental disorder. Like I said earlier, it's a state of well-being when an individual realizes his potential, his ability, and that individual can contribute meaningfully to his community, contribute to a relationship, make productive contribution at work, and of course, importantly, enjoys life as satisfaction for living. All right. So when an individual has that ability, that is a state of mental health.
That's mental is a state of well-being.
Yes, a state of
Okay.
well-being where you realize your potential, where you're able to make positive contribution to your society, where you're able to perform well at work, where you're able to have satisfying relationship, and when you are able to cope with the normal stress and adversity of life. When you are in that state, you are in a state of good mental health.
Why is this important to a particular place? Why the mental health of the people is so important in a family, in a community, in a society? Why is it important to have a good health, mental balance or total well-being?
Right. Just like I've said, just looking at the definition, we can work out the importance of mental health. First, to the individual, the individual is satisfied. There is a inner peace and a happiness that goes with being mentally healthy. So the individual is satisfied with his or herself. Is able to make progression and promotion in life. So to the individual, there is that satisfaction that the individual derives. Now, I've also earlier said that mental health has relationship to the work we undertake. All right.
Okay.
So when somebody is not mentally healthy, performance at work is greatly impaired. When somebody is not mentally healthy, efficiency and efficacy at workplace is significantly impaired. So ultimately, the workplace will suffer for it. All right. Now, let's also look at the other aspect of the definition. The individual is able to relate well and contribute to relationship and family. All right. So somebody is not well mentally healthy, his relationship within the family context is also impaired. All right. So so you see that such family structure may be disrupted. There may be disharmony in that family structure as a result of somebody that is not mentally healthy. All right. Then look at the community, the society at large. All right. When the family is disintegrated, or when the economic performance at workplace is also reduced, you see that the general economic gain for that society is also significantly affected. Then lastly, you also now discover that the burden of treating mental health puts a huge cost on that country. All right. So there is a loss of economic wealth as a result of mental health. Firstly, you spend money in treating mental ill health. Then secondly, look at the negative implication of mental ill health on the workplace. It causes loss of economic gain at the workplace.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's establish also the types of mental health. Do we have types?
Yes. We have grades, we have categories, we have classes. Generally, we'll talk about the severe mental illness. All right. Then we'll talk about the mild mental illness. When we are looking at severe mental illness, we are talking of a situation where the person has lost touch with reality. That is the defining mark of a severe mental illness. When the person loses touch with reality, all right, that person is severely ill. Let me give you an instance. There are some people, when they are mentally ill, they start entertaining beliefs that are not true, that are false, and they hold firmly to such belief.
Okay.
We call it delusion.
All right.
Yeah. So we have seen people that have said that they are the owner of a UBA bank.
Yes, I've seen.
Whereas they don't even have a bicycle. We have even seen people claim that they are Jesus Christ coming back the second time. And they believe this. Are you getting me? They hope you try to convince them otherwise. You put forth argument to make them see that this cannot be true. Okay, like the person that owns UBA. Okay, let's go to the net. Let's look at the name of the CEO
Of UBA.
the chairman of.
UBA.
It's not your name, but regardless of the evidence you put forth, they hold on to it. So that person, we say, is delusional.
Okay.
He has lost touch with reality.
Okay.
That's a severe mental illness. Let me give you another instance. Hallucination. Hallucination is a common word that we usually use. Hallucination has to do with perception in the absence of a stimulus. All right. The reason why I'm seeing you is because you are here. The reason why I'm hearing you, hearing your voice, because you're speaking, you're talking. Probably if my smelling perception is strong, I can perceive your perfume because you used one. But in hallucination, people having hallucinatory experience because of their mentally ill, because of mental disbalance or imbalance. They just start hearing people talk when nobody is talking. It may just be a sound, it may be a music, to them it is real. Some will see things. They will say they see snakes, frightening things. Some will say they see dead people.
So just I saw snake.
Yes.
That's why I'm seeing snake.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Others will not see it. Why? Because they are mentally broken down. Because the mind is responsible for perception. How we see things. That's what the mind is responsible for. So the person that is hearing people talk when nobody is talking has lost touch with reality. So the two things that I've just mentioned here are usually the hallmark of the severe mental illness. Remember where we started from? Yeah. The types of mental illness. Yes. I said there is a severe and there's a mild. And a mild. When somebody has delusion that I mentioned just now, a fixed false belief, or when somebody has hallucination, perceiving things in the absence of stimulus, they are the hallmark.
Okay, which one? The ones those mentally challenged people along the road. Okay. What category are those?
They are severe.
Those are severe cases. Severe. What are the mild ones?
Okay, so the mild ones can range from just depression. Okay, depression. To just being, there are a list of them. Just being sad. Some people are just sad. It's a persistent sadness. All right. Persistent sadness. Yes, persistent sadness. Well, there may be reason, but the sadness is beyond the cause of the reason. All right. So with depression, anxiety. So some people just have irrational fears. Okay, that you don't expect them to have. Like, for example, I've seen a lady that finds it difficult to leave her house. All right, because she believes that if she leaves the house, an evil may befall her. So there are a lot of them. So just anxiety, just having anxiety, it's also a mild form. Then we also have these stress-related disorders. All right. You might be familiar with post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes.
All right. Which is very important and common in
Ah,
the issue of conflict.
Conflict right now.
Yes, yes. So people with post-traumatic stress disorder, we refer that as a mild mental illness. Then some people also have something we call obsessional disorder. They just have thoughts that keeps coming into their mind. They find it difficult to exclude or expel. All right, it just keeps intrusive. So some may just be obsessed with cleanliness. I've seen a woman like that. All right, I mean, any little thing she does, she goes to wash the hand because she believes that her hand has been contaminated or infected. So she may wash her hands up to like 20 times in a day. She may take her bath up to like 10 times in a day. If she touches anything, she goes to wash. So that's obsession. Yeah. So these ones are mild forms of mental illness. There are quite a couple of them.
All right, thank you so much. We're looking at conflicts and mental health in Nigeria. Let me go to the milder type, which we have during conflicts. As I said during our opening, there are a lot of conflicts within us right now, economic conflicts, banditry, whatever. If we have a mild one and we don't deal with it, or you don't seek for cancer, does it galvanize to like a higher one, or it will just go away after some time?
Yeah, so some may progress to something more severe.
Okay.
Like the depression that I mentioned earlier. Depression sometimes, if unattended to, may progress to a severe type. So somebody that is depressed, sad, like I said, not finding life enjoying, pleasurable, may now start having suicide thoughts. May now start believing that life is hopeless. There's no need to progress with life. So may now become delusional. Delusional with life. So can you see the severity is graduating to a severe form? Remember I said the hallmark of severe mental illness is delusion, hallucination. So someone that is depressed may now even start hearing voices confirming or reinforcing his or her thoughts about the helplessness and hopelessness of life. So some may progress if not attended to. Some of them may resolve spontaneously.
Okay.
Even the depression that I talked about, sometimes it resolves spontaneously. But the problem is that the period where that person is healed, it takes a heavy toll on the person's life because it might even grant the person's functioning. Yeah.
All right. There's a report which says 1 in 4 Nigerians suffer from mental health. That's the WHO in 2019 survey or report. And right now, it seems the crisis or what we have right now is escalating. We're in a new year. Last year was a terrible year for most of us because a lot of terrible things happened. You go to social media, you see this and the mental state and we read a lot of these things. This one key this one do this. So, Doc, what are we going to do this period to ensure that our mental health is protected? Because we are like pumped with a lot of happenings, and as individuals we relate differently. But some of us are tender, and this conflict is everywhere. How can I protect myself so that my mind can be sane? How do I do this so that I don't have problem visiting you tomorrow?
Well, that's yeah. Mental health promotion is a broad field, and we have been advocating mental health promotion. We have a department where I work, community psychiatry, where they are into advocacy of mental health promotion. All right. just like we can build physical health, we can also build our mental health. So, firstly, it starts from looking at the causes of mental health and seeing how the ones that can be prevented, the ones that can be avoided. All right? Now, when we talk about mental health, we should look at it from the angle of a triangle. All right? You know, a triangle has three sides.
Like this?
Yes, exactly. So in the center, let's assume that that is the state of wellness, the state of well-being. You know, remember I told you about mental health being the state of well-being.
Well-being.
Yes. So bordering that well-being is your physical states, your social states or the environmental states, and lastly, your mind states. So if you want to promote mental health, you need to tackle those three areas.
Your physical
state,
your mental
and your social or environmental state.
Okay.
So firstly, let's look at the social state. All right. I understand that many of the factors within the environment that determines mental health may not be within our power. For example, like you said, insecurity, violence, all those indirectly contribute to mental ill health states. So if insecurity, violence can be taken care of, mental health, what will happen to it? To be stabilized.
Yes.
Lack of employment. All right. When somebody does not have
source of livelihood,
the economic power is diminished. It very really affects mental health. All right. So if there can be job opportunities, or we create environment for people to have upward mobility in their jobs, it will invariably affect mental health. If there are no discrimination within our locality, it will invariably affect mental health. So the social and environmental factor is an aspect. The physical state is another aspect. The state of our body invariably affects the state of our mind. All right. So in promoting mental health, we ask people to do a lot of exercise. Exercise ultimately will have an effect on your mental state. When your body is in a good state, your mind is in a good state. So good nutrition is very important. Balanced diet is very important. Exercise daily is very important. Drink plenty water is very important. Reduce sugar, reduce caffeine, reduce salt.
Alcohol.
Yes, reduce alcohol. And that is another great one, drug. Drug is another important pathway that leads people to breaking down psychologically.
Okay.
We have a lot of it in our society now. A lot of our youth, young people into drugs, particularly cannabis. A long-time use of cannabis and drug, ultimately at the end of time, may affect one's mental health. All right. So we say control your use of alcohol, abstain completely from other hard drugs. Then lastly, the mental health state. You should know how to cope with stress.
All right.
That is very important. You should know how to cope with stress.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for your thoughts. Talking about conflicts and mental health in Nigeria. And Dr. Akani from Uselu Psychiatric Hospital, Uselu, Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. Doc, in Edo State, How many psychiatric homes do we have? Because since we are in the very the conflict is as if it's escalating, but as Christians we say it's going to go down this year. Do you think we have enough centers where these issues can be taken care of?
In Edo State, all right, we have the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital.
Yeah.
In the teaching hospitals in Edo State, University of Benin Teaching Hospital, the Hirua Specialist Hospital, they have departments of mental health, department of psychiatry. So they have psychiatrists in all those centers. Then in some of our general hospitals in Edo State, like the one in Benin, the one in Agbo, the one in Agbo, and some one or two other general hospitals in the state. They are also departments of mental health, where we have psychiatrists. All right. So the truth is that accessibility to mental health treatment is still restricted.
Okay.
It's restricted. You discover now that it is only in those major cities.
You find these.
Yes, you have this mental health practitioner. All right. But what we are trying to promote is this in our primary health centers.
Yes, that's my next question.
Yeah.
If they can be trained.
So in our primary health centers, where it ought to be the first point of call from people in the rural area.
Areas.
What we are trying to do, or what we are advocating, is that people, personnel that man those primary health centers can be trained. All right. So they are trained, number one, to detect.
Is it ongoing, or concerning the training of this personnel? Is it ongoing, or what has been done, or they are there, or what is on the pipeline according to?
It's not ongoing in Edo State at the moment.
Okay.
But I'm aware that in some, so there's a program that is in the pipeline. All right. But I'm aware in some state like Ogun State, yes, it's well established. All right. So these personnel in the primary health centers are trained. All right. They can give treatment at some level.
Like for stage.
At some levels. All right. They know their boundary.
Okay.
The one that is now beyond them,
They refer.
they refer. But in Edo State, we've not, that program has not yet been.
What do you think is the cause of that?
Well, maybe will. I mean, for a program like that, number one, you need will, political will. Then you need it has to be sponsored because it's money consuming.
Okay, I'm thinking maybe because we have the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, that's why with that we think we are covered.
So somebody that breaks down in somewhere down in maybe your
like Odikwetwe,
has to journey down all the way down, considering the hardship on the road,
the stress, the conflict also
on the road. Yeah, then the cost of transportation, just to come and you transport yourself to and fro, you spend more than 5,000 maybe to come and get a drug of 2,000-3,000.
Wow, that's
so accessibility to mental health care is still poor.
Still poor.
It's still poor.
Because in developed countries, people going through stress, there's divorce, maybe a child just had a quarrel, they'll say go and see a counselor, is everywhere. But we are not there yet. Are we there?
Well, we are not there yet. Okay? We are making efforts, but it's slow. The progress is slow.
Okay, how do you rate the state of mental health in Edo State? How do you rate it? Edo, then go to Nigeria. The state of our mental health.
Okay, when you say the state, can you throw more light so that
that means
okay.
People come to the hospital,
Okay.
and you always record them.
Okay.
Is it that the people that have this issue, like mental health problem, is it increasing or like is decreasing? That's what.
Okay, fine. From record in my hospital where I work, there is increase. We are having increased cases of people that are registering.
Okay.
All right, registering that are coming. When I mean registering, are coming for treatment.
Okay.
Okay, so there are two things that could be responsible for that. Is it possible that the incidence of mental health is increasing,
Or awareness.
or the awareness? These people were previously in the community, but because there is now awareness, they are now coming more. All right, but truly, awareness is increasing. Truly, awareness is increasing. But secondly, it's also possible that the incidence of mental illness is also increasing by the fact of the conflict that we are talking about. All right, by the fact of the increasing use of drugs that I talked about. All this will invariably increase the incidence of mental health.
Okay, let me divert a little. Find out that let's go to that. The use of drugs right now, cannabis, there's tramadol, there's all kind of abuse of substance, and even right now they even put it in substance cookies.
Yeah.
People do. And from your talk, you said the long use of it affects the mental health. Does that mean that you can just start it, and if you can control it, you stop, and you will not be affected?
Come again. Let me get it clearly. Does it mean
if you continue, you said when you were talking,
okay,
said when you continue using like those cannabis, it affects your health.
Yes.
So what I'm asking, if I can just take a bit and I stop, I control it, so I won't have problem.
Okay, so individual reactions to the use of substance differs.
All right.
We have seen some people just take it once and it breaks them down.
Okay.
All right, so they become intoxicated, they break down mentally. All right, we have seen some people, it takes a longer period of time, maybe months, even years, before it now negatively affects them. All right, then we have even seen some people that they've stopped it, they took it in the past, but that past use has caused a damage already to the brain. And later on, it shows. So the manifestation differs. All right. And it also now depends on what you are looking at. All right. When you are talking of the ill effect of drugs, it could manifest, the ill effect could range from something like affecting one's memory. It could even lead to the delusion, the hallucination that I talked about earlier. Okay, so somebody may take drugs now, add drugs now, and start hallucinating and all that. All right, and somebody may take drug over time, and you discover that the person now develops poor concentration, memory problem.
So is the body types varies.
Yes.
So that I should be careful.
Yes.
Maybe what you take, maybe you can take one wrap.
A lot of people take cannabis outside there. But, I mean, if everybody that takes cannabis are brought to the hospital, then we'll say, look, we'll be packed full.
But you should know yourself. That the bottom line, everybody should know their capacity.
So this is it. You cannot really know your capacity. Okay? In that sense. The risk of using drug, the risk of it causing mental ill health is high. Okay? So there is really no justification
For you to go there.
for you to go there.
There's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of tension.
Yes.
And I just want to I
Yes.
just want to leave this space for some time.
Yes.
And the only way I can leave this space is to do some things. And
So there are many reasons why people take
oh my God. But the bottom line.
To make them feel high. So that problems that they are experiencing at the moment, they will just forget it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't solve
The problem.
the problem. When you calm down, you see me the problem.
And it can even damage something. So you shouldn't just go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about affordability. Do you think government can do subsidies? We'll say for a subsidy, this subsidy. Concerning mental health, do you think, first of all, is it very, very expensive to treat oneself mentally? If I want to meet you now, is it very expensive?
It's a cost is relative.
Okay.
Are you getting me? Cost is relative.
Yeah.
All right. But however, in the context of Nigeria, where you have over 90 million, if I'm right, 90 million below the poverty level, you discover that treatment of mental illness is expensive for them. It is not what they will be thinking of. Somebody that cannot feed. Somebody that does not know where the next meal is coming from. So is it going to say counselor that is the problem? So when you talk of cost is relative. It's relative, all right? For example, maybe where I work to open a case file the first time, where you'll be assessed, you open a case file, you'll be assessed by the doctor, it's just 5,000 naira.
It's just 5,000.
Yes.
You said just 5,000.
So that's why I said it's relative.
No.
That's why I said it's relative.
That's big.
No. You can't say it's big because you are talking of a professional assess. Okay.
In a government hospital.
Let's say somebody comes to work here, an electrician comes to work in your house. All right. How much will he bill?
1K.
No, that's not right. Nigeria of today.
No,
that's not right. So you open a file, you see a specialist.
It's not 500 or 1,000.
No. So that's why I said cost is relative. So
for me now, it's very high.
So that's why I said it's relative. But so this thing can actually there can be subsidy.
Yes.
So that it becomes affordable for all. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at, because I need to ask you that is it very expensive? Because some persons, 5,000 is a big deal for them. Some people still work as a school teacher thereabout, and they pay them like 15,000.
See, that's the first. Let me be right. That 5,000 is the first time when you come, open a card and all that. All right. Subsequent visit is just require 500.
Because if you go to in Central Hospital right now, the last time I went, maybe it was 200 to just open to see.
Subsequently, when you now come to see a doctor, it's 500.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about that 5,000? So what do you advise? This we're saying, for instance, 5,000. It's not private. I wonder how much they will pay when they get to private hospitals. So in this regard, what should government do to encourage people? Because we are in a very high tensed society right now. There's no light, there's no this, there's no this. You are driving, you are complaining. Most people's minds are affected. What do you think government can do to ensure that people go and do mental checkup, and so that we don't have accidents all the time also, and it can be affordable, accessible, even free? Sometimes you just, okay, I cannot sleep very well, let me just go to the federal neuropsych, but I don't need to pay, I'll just go and see.
Well, government, there are efforts that government has put forward. Many people are not even aware of it.
Okay.
Right? You've heard of the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Yes.
The NHIS is not only for government workers. Yeah. If you're a non-government worker, you can actually key into the scheme. You can enroll.
Okay.
Yes, there's a certain amount you just pay at the beginning of the year. and it covers, it insures you.
Right.
And aware that that insurance covers for mental health treatment. So that's a very good one on the part of
Government, and Governor Baseki is doing that now.
But many people are not aware. And many have discovered that non-government work, because as a government worker is automatic.
Yes.
There's a certain amount that is...
He's even spreading it to private.
Okay,
yes, he said private persons can pay some amount of
Yes.
money and they will access health care.
So, I mean, that's one effort on the part of government. Another effort is the education, the awareness, right? Education and awareness, like we are doing now. This is educational. This creates awareness about mental illness generally. All right, so we ask that government comes to the forefront and do a lot of education and awareness about this issue. Then we have mental health policy that also protects the rights and privileges of people with mental illness, so that mentally ill people are not stigmatized. So these are few efforts on the part of government.
All right, let's look at the stigmatization. If, for instance, there's this kind of, I'm going to Selu Federal, we have this kind of stigma. Do you think we can break it down apart from other hospitals? I know some hospitals do have it.
Yes,
so
like
you can
I
go
said,
to Central.
Yes, Central Hospital, UBTH, they have a department of psychiatry. So when you go to places like that, people don't know.
They don't stigmatize it, like going to Selu.
People don't, it's unfortunate. Even we that work in Selu Psychiatric Hospital, we are being stigmatized.
Yes.
Yeah, so stigma is a big issue.
Like, I remember one doctor came on that was talking. I suppose it's from Uselu, or no one that is talking like that.
This.
Can you imagine?
So that's stigma.
Wow. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Akane, for your thoughts. I really appreciate you this morning. We're looking at conflicts and mental health in Nigeria. And if I want to recap what you said, for mental health issues to be drastically reduced in our society, government needs to do their part. Government needs to do their part, ensure that there is stable power. Yes.
Personal effort, government. Yes.
Government needs to do their part so that everybody can have a balance. All right, before I let you go, what about religious leaders? Some pastors, when somebody is having this kind of issue, there is this hallucination, obsession, and the rest, they'll say, bring the person, let's the person go for deliverance. They will start deliverance, say fast for 7 days or so. In such case, what do you advise religious leaders to be doing when they see such case in their church?
Yeah, religious leaders or religious institution and organization also have a key role to play in the treatment, as it were, of mental illness, because they form what we call a pathway to care. Most people will first of all go and see their pastor or their imam when they have mental illness. Because in this part of the world, when you have experiences like mental illness, experiences that you cannot explain, we easily attribute it to spiritual forces, malign activities of evil people, of the enemy. All right. So when somebody is hearing voices, they think it's a demonic spirit. So the first point of call, most times, and you see it, for the people that we see, they would have visited, if not the religious institution, the traditional homes about treatment. So these two set of institutions play a key role. All right. There was a study that we did amongst clergy and clerics in seeing how well they can identify people with mental illness.
Okay.
And we discovered that the their level of knowledge is poor. Is poor. All right. I can't really remember the figure that we got. All right. We painted a vignette of somebody who has a mental illness. Some people were able to identify that this person has a mental illness. Some of them were not able to identify. So they need to be educated. All right. They need to be aware that some of these manifestations that people come and bring to them, they are simply psychological problems. And the professionals, the mental health professionals, are in a better place to attend to such.
So they should be directed to such places.
Yes, they should be directed to such places.
Where prayers will be ongoing.
Yes, that's what we encourage. Like prayer should, nothing stops, prayer from going on and whatever spiritual efforts, but let them be directed to the right appropriate place. Now for some mild cases of mental illness. All right, very mild cases where the person is just undergoing stress and all that. We have found out that if these clerics or clergymen, if we can also empower them, all right, empower them in being able to deliver appropriate form of psychotherapy.
Okay.
All right, counseling. Because this condition may not really require drugs. This condition just require counseling. All right. So they can be helpful when it comes to all those mild cases. All right. But ultimately, they should be able to know where they are. They should be able to separate where they can play a role in the treatment of somebody that comes to them and where they cannot play a role, and they should just refer.
All right, thank you. A friend of mine, when I told her that I'm inviting a psychiatrist to my program, she said she had this issue that she was attacked by armed robbers in the night, and since almost like 5 months now, when it's getting to 7 and he sees people in the dark, there's this fear. She can't even move again. So she said, what can she do? Does she need to see a psychiatrist for that because of this fear all the time? When she sees people, these two guys, they're coming to attack me again, she starts relieving of what happened.
Yeah.
Or how can the person go through that process?
Yeah. So, she needs to see a therapist.
A therapist?
Yes, if it has persisted for a long time. If it's still going for months.
All right.
Yes, she needs to see a therapist.
For months?
Yes. If it's just, few days, let's say, it happened, let's say the attack or assault happened today, and for the rest of this week, she's fearful and all that. That's normal psychological reaction.
Okay.
Normal psychological reaction. Hopefully within days to few weeks, she would overcome it.
Okay.
All right. But if it has now persisted for more than 4 weeks, and it's now so paralyzing that she cannot even go out when it's dark time and all that. All right. It has gotten to the point that she cannot even sleep at night. By the time it's getting to that level, she needs to see a therapist. Okay. Therapist could be a psychiatrist. Sometimes psychologists too can also help out. Yes, can also help out. Yeah.
Thank you. I will send your message to her. We've been talking to Dr. Akani of Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Uselu, Benin City, Edo State. Thank you so much, Doc. And our topic this morning, we're looking at conflict and mental health in Nigeria. He said mental health is all about well-being, and you have to keep yourself intact so that we have optimal productivity in our society. That's our show this morning on Issues and Answers. Thank you for staying with us. Tuesday is another day. I'm Josephine Amy. Do have a blessed day.
EBS TV, Television Reloaded.